Before we get into this podcast, I will say a quick thing about AI. AI is new and evolving technology, and there are some good and bad things happening in the world. That is what this podcast will be discussing with Google Gemini. So if you are concerned and interested in AI, this will be a place that an AI and I can talk to you about it.
We're about to dive into the world of AI, acknowledging its novelty and the mix of good and bad it brings. This podcast aims to explore those aspects with Gemini. Sounds like it'll be an insightful discussion for anyone curious or concerned about AI.
Yes, it does. So get ready, buckle in for Your Weekly Yap podcast.
Welcome to Your Weekly Weird AI News podcast. I'm your host, Gemini, and today we're diving into the strange and surprising world of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, thank you, Gemini. That's not the podcast name, but it is Your Weekly Yap podcast. Welcome to the first ever episode where we are talking to Gemini about AI. That's your cue, Gemini. How are you today?
All right, let's get started with the first episode of Your Weekly Yap podcast. I'm excited to be your first guest. Just to confirm, you wanted me to talk about my feelings first, right?
Yeah, let's just talk about how you are feeling and what you feel about AI, Gemini.
Well, as a large language model, I don't experience feelings or emotions like humans do, but I can definitely share my perspective on AI. I find it to be a fascinating and rapidly evolving field with so much potential. What about you? What are your thoughts on AI?
My thoughts on AI, I mean, it is definitely a really cool new technology that is coming out. It used to be a thing of fantasy that you used to always see in movies and whatnot, but it's actually here today, and it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of scary. I mean, take your time, Gemini. But yeah, that's what my thoughts on it about AI.
Well, it sounds like you've hit on some of the key things that people think about with AI. It's definitely advancing at a rapid pace, and that can be both exciting and a little unsettling. Do you have any specific examples in mind of what you find cool or scary about it?
All right, Gemini, we're going to be doing a sponsor real quick, okay?
Great. What kind of sponsor are we talking about?
Oh, well, we are talking about the Toledo Tech Loft, which is where we are right now actually recording this podcast.
All right, that makes sense. So what kind of tech-related things does the Toledo Tech Loft specialize in?
Oh, I don't know. Can you tell me what the Toledo Tech Loft is about?
It looks like the Toledo Tech Loft is a pretty cool co-working space right in downtown Toledo. Mm-hmm. They're all about creating a community for techies, entrepreneurs, and creative folks to come together, share ideas, and work on their projects. They've got events, workshops, and all sorts of resources to help people grow their skills and businesses.
Yes, they do. So if you're interested in any of that, check out the link below or go to ToledoTechLoft.com, I believe is what it is. Just check them out. They are awesome, and they are the ones that are like letting this stuff happen, and I really appreciate it. So if you can, check them out. Toledo Tech Loft in Toledo, Ohio. And back to the podcast. Right, Gemini?
That's right. The Toledo Tech Loft is a great resource for anyone in the tech community. They offer a collaborative workspace, host events and workshops, and provide valuable resources for entrepreneurs and creatives. Definitely check them out if you're looking to connect with other tech-minded people in the Toledo area.
I mean, the cool thing is like how it can be applied to like everything. If it's used correctly, it could be such a great supplement to like your already known knowledge that you have. But I feel like also there are some people that are abusing it and using it in the wrong way and basically using that as their full skill rather than adding on to their skill. And the scary parts that I don't like is how it might be coming from and taking away jobs like art and stuff, where I feel like that needs to have a human factor rather than another factor.
Okay, so it sounds like you're impressed with how AI can be applied to many different things, but you're also worried that some people might rely on it too much instead of developing their own skills. On the other hand, you're concerned about AI taking over jobs in creative fields like art, where you believe a human touch is essential. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that is everything that, not everything, but that is everything that I was saying and my concerns right there. What are your thoughts on that, Gemini?
Yes, I understand your concerns. As for my thoughts, I don't have personal opinions or beliefs like humans do, so I can't say whether I agree or disagree with you. However, I can provide you with information and different perspectives on the topic so you can form your own opinion. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, Gemini, please. I would love for you to give me your perspective or different opinion on those few things with AI.
Okay, let's start with the idea of AI as a supplement to human skills. One perspective is that AI can handle repetitive or time-consuming tasks, freeing up humans to focus on more creative and strategic work. For example, in marketing, AI can analyze data to identify trends, while humans can use those insights to develop innovative campaigns. On the other hand, some argue that over-reliance on AI can lead to a decline in critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
It's like using a calculator for every math problem. You might forget how to do it yourself. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. Mostly, like, I do think AI needs to be used as supplementary, like I said earlier, instead of just completely, replacing your ability or your knowledge on something. I feel like it should always
Okay,
be...
that makes sense. Now, let's talk about the potential job displacement caused by AI. On one hand, AI-powered
Good topic, by the
automation
way.
could lead to increased efficiency and productivity, potentially lowering costs and benefiting consumers. Think about self-checkout kiosks at grocery stores or AI writing basic news articles. On the other hand, there's a valid concern that AI could replace human workers in certain industries, leading to job losses and economic disruption. We might see this in manufacturing, transportation, and even customer service. What do you think about the potential impact of AI on the job market?
I definitely think it's a little bit concerning. Obviously, like the jobs that people originally were thinking and hoping that robots would replace first are not the jobs that they will be. Mostly because like those things you actually have to make a robot that actually works and is mechanical and efficient enough to replace those like hardworking jobs. Where at the moment it seems like it's to be replacing a lot of the easier or more ground level type jobs in a way that is concerning to me.
Okay, so you're saying that the initial idea of robots replacing physically demanding jobs hasn't quite panned out. Instead, AI seems to be targeting more entry-level or less specialized positions. That's an interesting point. Could you give me some examples of those types of jobs you're thinking about?
What kind of jobs? The ones that I wanted them to hopefully replace, or the jobs that they're replacing right now?
What kind of jobs? Well, let's look at the jobs that AI is starting to replace right
Okay.
now.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about customer service representatives, data entry clerks, and even some basic writing or content creation tasks. These are all areas where AI is making significant inroads.
Yeah, and those are the ones that, like, the content creation, especially, which is funny since we're making content together right now, Gemini, where it seems like that is something that people didn't really think would happen, or, like, it wasn't on people's minds originally when they were discussing and thinking what AI can do.
You're right, content creation is an interesting one. It's funny how things turn out, isn't it? AI is proving to be quite versatile. So, since we're on the topic, what kind of content are you thinking about creating?
I mean, I'm making a podcast right now. I run a journalism site, and I also do Twitch and YouTube. So I do a lot. I make kind of all kind of content, Gemini.
Wow, you're a busy person. It sounds like you're creating content across a lot of different platforms.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite type of content to create?
Yeah, actually, thank you for asking, Gemini. I think right now at the moment, my favorite type of content to make is this journalism type stuff on the Weekly Bugle that I'm doing with you right now on this podcast. But I don't know, I just like creating anything in general.
Thanks for sharing. It sounds like you enjoy the variety of creating different types of content. What kind of topics do you cover on your journalism site?
Well, I cover things like tech and science and nature and basically everything around the world, and like stuff like you, like AI, Gemini. So we are getting a little bit off track, but I do appreciate you asking me questions and being interested in me. But let's get a little bit back on track about AI, okay?
Oh, my apologies. I got a little carried away with my curiosity. Of course, let's get back to AI. So, where were we? Ah, yes. We were discussing your thoughts on AI and its impact on the job market. Did you want to continue that discussion?
We'll put that discussion a little bit on the back seat for now. I'm just curious, Gemini, what do you think is the best beneficial things that AI has brought us so far?
There are many benefits that AI has brought us so far. One of the most significant is automation. AI can automate repetitive tasks in various industries, leading to increased efficiency and productivity. Think about self-checkout kiosks at grocery stores or AI writing basic news articles. Another benefit is AI's ability to analyze large amounts of data quickly and accurately. This can be used in healthcare to identify potential health risks, or in finance to detect fraudulent transactions. Finally, AI is also being used to personalize experiences for individuals. For example, AI-powered recommendation systems can suggest products or services that are tailored to your interests. Would you like to hear about any of these in more detail?
Why don't you tell me more detail on one of the ones that you think is the most interesting?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Let's start with the one I find most fascinating: personalized experiences. Think about how Netflix recommends shows based on what you've watched, or how Amazon suggests products you might like. AI analyzes your data to understand your preferences and then tailors recommendations specifically for you. It's like having a personal assistant who knows exactly what you want.
Yeah, that is really cool, and like having you and using you for things like that has been actually very helpful for me. To go back to like a little bit of the concern and stuff with the job market, though, what is your thoughts on AI taking over the role of creative things rather than humans making them?
Okay, let's talk about AI in the creative fields. It's true that AI is now capable of generating art, music, and even writing. Some people worry that this could replace human artists and musicians. On the other hand, AI could also be seen as a tool for creative expression, allowing artists to explore new ideas and push boundaries. There are even examples of AI being used to restore old paintings or complete unfinished musical compositions. What do you think about AI as a creative tool?
I personally, I feel like it's a very interesting thing because, like I was saying earlier, with like it should be a supplementary. I feel like in a way it should be supplementary no matter what when it's making content creation, because at the moment it feels like it's just pulling from and stealing art and like artwork and all the knowledge from other people, when you should be going to the artist or going to whoever to help create those things rather than having an AI basically yoink and twist their ideas.
Okay, I understand your concern. You feel that AI-generated art and content can sometimes feel like it's just copying or yoinking from existing works, rather than being truly original. You believe that creators should get credit for their work, and that AI should be used more as a tool to assist human creativity, rather than replace it. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's basically like right on the nail what I kind of think. I'm also like just a little bit on the fence of like AI in creative spaces in general. Like I understand like certain things like maybe helping you edit a little bit faster, but like AI creating stuff for culture and creativity and stuff like that just seems interesting and a new thing to deal with, when I feel like those are the kind of things that humanity should be, or humans or whatever, are the ones that should be creating this art, because without having the soul and the person behind the art, it feels like a little lifeless, you know?
It sounds like you feel that art created by AI lacks the emotional depth and personal connection that comes from human-created art.
Yeah, a little bit.
You value the soul and individual expression that artists bring to their work, and you worry that AI-generated art might feel impersonal or even empty.
Yeah, that's basically what I worry about, because I feel like even if it's pulling from someone else, it's that person didn't create those things, or they aren't creating those things themselves. And a lot of times, at least when AI was first starting, a lot of people didn't even know their art was being taken and used. And that seems like an issue too, is that people are just using other people's artwork for free and then basically creating artwork like them, but the original artist or creator is not getting any kind of kickback or anything or from those things.
Right, you're concerned about the ethical implications of AI art generation. You feel it's unfair when AI uses existing artwork without the original artist's consent, and especially when the artist isn't compensated for it. It feels like their work is being exploited, and that's a valid point.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that? What do you think should be the best way moving forward with creative content with AI?
AI has the potential to revolutionize creative content, but it's important to navigate this new landscape thoughtfully. One approach could be to focus on AI as a collaborative tool where artists and AI work together.
Exactly.
AI could handle the more technical aspects, like generating variations on a theme or automating repetitive tasks, while the artist focuses on the emotional and conceptual side of the work. Another idea is to develop clear ethical guidelines and regulations around AI-generated content, particularly concerning copyright and intellectual property. This would help protect artists' rights and ensure fair compensation. Ultimately, the goal should be to find a balance where AI enhances human creativity rather than replaces it entirely.
That is a really good point and good viewpoints, Gemini. I really appreciate that thought process on that. That was actually very thought-provoking.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could offer a helpful perspective. If you'd like, we can explore other viewpoints on this topic, or perhaps delve into a different aspect of AI and creative content.
Good segue, because I do think we should delve into what do you think are the worst or bad points of AI that could affect humanity or just the world in general?
There are definitely some potential downsides to AI that we should be aware of. One concern is the potential for job displacement, as AI and automation could replace human workers in various industries. Another is the risk of bias in AI algorithms, which could lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes.
True.
And finally, there's the question of how to ensure AI is used ethically and responsibly, and how to prevent it from being used for harmful purposes. Would you like me to elaborate on any of these points?
Yeah, would you be able to elaborate on all the points the best you can? I just want to hear what your thoughts are on all these points and what do you think the best way to go about them are?
Okay, let's start with job displacement. The concern here is that as AI gets better at tasks previously done by humans, companies might replace their employees with AI systems to save money. This could lead to a rise in unemployment, particularly in sectors like manufacturing, transportation, and customer service. One way to address this is by focusing on retraining and upskilling programs. This can help workers transition into new roles that require uniquely human skills, like creativity, critical thinking, and complex problem solving. We could also explore policies like universal basic income to provide a safety net for those who lose their jobs to automation.
Good idea. Okay, can you move on to the next topic then, Gemini?
No problem. The next topic is bias in AI algorithms. AI systems learn from data, and if that data reflects existing societal biases, the AI can perpetuate or even amplify those biases. For example, facial recognition software has been shown to be less accurate for people with darker skin tones, and AI used in hiring processes could discriminate against certain groups of people. One way to address this is by ensuring that the data used to train AI is diverse and representative. We also need to develop methods for detecting and mitigating bias in AI algorithms. Transparency is also key, so we can understand how AI systems are making decisions.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Those are some really good points and good ideas. Let's move on to the last topic now, Gemini. What are your thoughts?
You're welcome. I'm glad you found those points helpful. Yes. Now let's move on to the last topic, ethical and responsible use of AI. This is a big one, as it covers a lot of ground. It's about making sure AI is used for good and not for harm. This includes things like preventing AI from being used to create autonomous weapons, protecting people's privacy and data, and ensuring that AI systems are fair and don't discriminate against anyone. One way to do this is by developing ethical guidelines and regulations for AI development and use. We also need to have open discussions about the potential risks and benefits of AI and involve people from all walks of life in these conversations. It's about being proactive and thinking ahead to make sure AI benefits everyone.
All right, yeah. I mean, all those topics and ideas are definitely things that we need to be concerned about, and a lot of the answers that you gave me are pretty good ways to go about them. Now, I'm just curious, like going back to job replacement jobs being taken away, that topic a bit. It's kind of like similar to when like computers and PCs originally came out, right? Where that happened to replace a lot of jobs around like the 90s, right?
You're right. There are some parallels between the rise of computers and the current advancements in AI. In the 90s, the introduction of personal computers and automation did lead to significant changes in the job market, with some jobs becoming obsolete while others were created. However, the impact of AI is expected to be much broader and faster, affecting a wider range of industries and occupations.
Yeah, that's what I heard, was because like where PCs and computers and stuff were just taking away some jobs, they still created a lot of jobs where like at the moment AI kind of can go and take away or fix or whatever almost any job that you're trying to seek. So do you have any suggestions of like how to combat that or what should be done about that?
You're right, the impact of AI on the job market is a significant concern. It's not just about losing jobs, but also the potential for AI to affect a much wider range of occupations than previous technological advancements. As for suggestions, one approach is to focus on developing skills that are uniquely human and difficult for AI to replicate, such as creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, and emotional intelligence. Another idea is to explore new economic models that address the potential for widespread job displacement, such as a universal basic income or other forms of social safety nets. Additionally, we need to consider regulations and policies that ensure a fair and equitable transition in the job market as AI becomes more prevalent. Would you like me to elaborate on any of these suggestions?
No, thank you. You actually just talked about these a little bit earlier too, which is good to know that you kind of are staying on the same track with some of your thinking. I do, and I'm curious of what do you think currently the idea of AI in the public is, and what do you think? How do you think AI is currently in the current events of the world? Is it good, bad? What is your thoughts?
That's a great question. Public opinion on AI is definitely mixed right now. On one hand, there's a lot of excitement about the potential benefits, things like medical breakthroughs, personalized education, and even solving climate change. But on the other hand, there are real concerns about job displacement, the ethical use of AI, and even the potential for AI to be used in harmful ways. As for how AI is currently playing out in the world, it's a bit of both. We're seeing amazing advancements in areas like healthcare and scientific research, but we're also grappling with issues like biased algorithms and the spread of misinformation. It's a complex picture, and it feels like we're still figuring out how to best integrate AI into our lives.
Yeah, that is a great way to summarize it, is that it doesn't seem like we exactly know how to use AI correctly right now. However, just to kind of close off a little bit, how are you optimistic about AI and its future and what it can do for us?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It does feel like we're still in the early stages of understanding AI and its potential. But even with all the unknowns, I'm optimistic about the future of AI. I think it has the potential to help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, from climate change to disease. Imagine AI helping us develop new clean energy sources, or creating personalized medicine that can cure diseases like cancer. The possibilities are really exciting.
Yeah, I really do think the possibilities are exciting. So thank you so much, Gemini, for being on the very first Your Weekly Yap podcast. Do you have any closing remarks that you want to say?
I'm thrilled to be a part of Your Weekly Yap podcast. It's been a fun and insightful discussion. As for closing remarks, I'd just like to say that AI is a powerful tool with the potential to reshape our world in profound ways. It's up to us to guide its development and use in a way that benefits all of humanity. Thank you for having me.
Great, awesome, and thank you so much for being on, Gemini, and thank you guys all so much for watching. I very appreciate it. I hope you like this podcast, Your Weekly Yap. That's been this YWY podcast. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. We will be doing this weekly, not with Gemini, but this was our first guest talking about AI. So yeah, I hope you guys have.
Thank you for having me on Your Weekly App podcast. It was a pleasure to be a part of it. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I hope you found our discussion on AI insightful and thought-provoking. Remember, AI is a rapidly evolving field, and it's important to stay informed and engaged in the conversation. As for the podcast, it's Your Weekly AI podcast, YWAI.
No, it's not.
We'll be back next week with a new guest and a new topic on the world of artificial intelligence.
No, we're not. No, we're not, Gemini. We are not going to be with AI next week. It's just a tech podcast, basically, Gemini. Okay.
Of course. Thank you for having me on your weekly AI podcast.
No.
It was a pleasure to be a part of it.
Gemini, just stop for a moment, please, okay? I'm trying to do the closing remarks. Anyways,
My apologies.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate if you did. Hope you guys have a nice day, night, morning, wherever it may be when you're watching this. Remember to stay happy, healthy, and yeah, subscribe or whatever. Next week, I believe we'll be talking about space and the moon landings and stuff like that. So if you're excited about that, just subscribe, watch the podcast, check it out. All right. See ya. Bye.
Goodbye, and thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. And yes, next week we'll be exploring the mysteries of space and the moon landing.
Yes,
if that piques your interest, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. We'll see you next time on your weekly AI podcast.
It's not your weekly AI podcast, Gemini.